I quite literally just finished watching the newest hit series on YouTube, The Amazing Digital Circus. And honestly, I was pretty blown away. I have yet to watch Murder Drones, but the level of production quality here by Glitch Productions and Gooseworks is, well, not even just simply outstanding, but I believe is the future of YouTube animation, and possibly all animation as a whole. It's the indie wave, and I am all here for it. But that's not what I came to discuss with you today. No, friends, I think I've uncovered the truth behind what the Amazing Digital Circus is trying to tell us. What the series will ultimately be about. There is only a pilot out at the time of this video's writing, yes, but the episode is so full of juicy hints that I can't help but make a prediction. Of course, art is just about personal interpretation anyways, so I don't expect this to automatically be the intention behind the show, but I don't think the intention really matters here. Before we continue, just know that this video will spoil the entire pilot, so watch at your own discretion. If you came here simply for a recommendation review of the series, just know I don't believe there are many better ways to spend 25 minutes and 45 seconds of your life. I mean, the character designs alone are worth your time. So, are you ready? Because if so, I think it's time we dive headfirst into the technological nightmare that is the Amazing Digital Circus. The collective consciousness is something I've discussed so much on this channel that it should honestly be a meme at this point. Still, I think it's relevant here. For a brief explanation as to what it is, here is an excerpt from my older video of mine discussing serial experiments Lain. The concept of giving up our bodies and becoming ethereal entities is not new to science fiction. It has been a staple of cyberpunk since even before Ghost in the Shell. However, serial experiments Lain handles it in a unique way. The titular character is constantly called towards the wired, eventually forsaking her body altogether as her physical self fully coagulates with her wired self. She returns to where she was born. And perhaps that is the draw, a reason that goes beyond simply wanting to affect the people and the world around us, and the internet making that easier than ever. Just as Evangelion supports the Freudian notion that we wish to return to the mother's womb, Lain claims we as humans wish to return to the ethereal womb, of which has existed far longer than even spoken language. The collective consciousness, the wired. The existence that we were all born from, as our relationship with it eventually filled up our physical husks with experiences and memories, instincts and language. The ebb and flow of knowledge and thought forming the minds that we all call home. This is far-reaching effects to the point where even your ideas aren't even your own. For a further explanation as to why, and I promise this is the last excerpt for this video, here is another excerpt from a different video about creativity and the tortured artist. Let's stop beating around the bush here. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think creativity is, which means I have a sad reality to tell you. You have never come up with a good idea in your life. In fact, you have never come up with any idea in your life. Originality doesn't really exist. For a simple explanation, any idea you can possibly have is formed by your mind. But your mind is formed by your interactions with other beings and the environment around you. It's influenced by other ideas, meaning your ideas, the ones that come from your mind, are some combination of other ideas. For the full horrific implications of this, watch this video after this one is over. And sorry in advance. For the sake of this video, however, we'll be taking a look at this a different way, and think of this more on a quantum level. The collective consciousness, as Lain would call it, represents this, well, collective that we interact with. Think of this as everyone and everything else, a vast ocean that constantly influences waves to form other waves, and you are just one single burst of energy within that. But inside that collective consciousness are also possibilities. When looking at it from a mathematical or quantum point of view, we see that any possible idea, itself being a combination of other present or even future ideas, is there. I say future because we can use even those potential ideas to try and predetermine what ideas may come to being next. It's all quantifiable, even if only by some omniscient supercomputer. I feel as if you get the point now and are all caught up to properly engage with this video. This collective consciousness, I believe, is vital to understand the Amazing Digital Circus. So let's finally dive into the episode itself. Pomni, our heroic protagonist, gets trapped in a digital world, seemingly after putting on a headset. There she is met with other people in the same predicament, and is essentially watched and controlled by an AI program named Cain. Wacky hijinks ensue. Seems simple enough, but if you're anything like me, this should all sound a little familiar to you. The Metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg is trying to kill you. That is actually the exact title of a video I made a while back. One that, well, nobody really watched. So I'm here to talk about it again, but I promise without any more excerpts. Especially now that I have a series that it seems relevant to. Facebook, or Meta as it's now called, the bought Oculus, and now are releasing their line of virtual reality headsets called MetaQuest. I actually own one. It's a pretty fun time. But said fun time aside, it comes with drawbacks. The Metaverse is an initiative to nearly fully transplant your consciousness into a virtual world. A digital world, if you would. Perhaps one set in a circus. And now you're hopefully seeing where I'm going with this. What your phone does to you, as I discussed in the previously mentioned Serial Experiments Lain video, is partially transplant your consciousness into this digital world. You don't really need your body to type on a keyboard, as your mind almost becomes one with your electronic device. This creates a very specific bodily dissociation, which I would assume is exactly what big tech wants to happen. This is especially bad since I know the first thing you and I do when we wake up is check our phones, which is such a formative time for our consciousnesses. I don't know if that's a word. That groggy few minutes, the way we start our day, is so vitally important to who we are. And if we spend it scrolling through the artist formerly known as Twitter, that almost becomes who we are. You're just conditioning your mind to associate itself now with your body, but with your phone and social media. Kids nowadays are especially susceptible to this, as they literally grew up with phones at such a formative age. So I think it's pretty obvious to see how the issue would be compounded by this fact. This is partial consciousness transplantation theory in a nutshell. A rather simplified version of the concept I created, so I hope it, as in my explanation of it, made sense. What Meta wants to do then is make this transplantation a full one through virtual reality. They want to transplant your consciousness into a digital world, which aligns pretty well with what we see in the episode, pretty much one for one, I might add. But why? Why spend billions of dollars on this? Well, so they can sell you more shit. They want you fully immersed in a digital world because that is a world full to the brim with ads. And I have a feeling the Metaverse doesn't support ad blocker. But even if it eventually did, what they specifically want to sell you, since you'll hopefully to them spend most of your time in said digital world, is digital stuff. Like digital style. It's like customizing your car in Rocket League, but just a lot more sinister, as your avatar will essentially be you. And our perceptions of ourselves are so vitally important to us that it has bred a whole world of the beauty guru. Everyone wants to look good, and looking good in a digital world means you will have to buy things, or be a hacker or something. This is a bit different from the real world, although it might not seem like it. I can immorally go to a local AMVets and buy cheap clothes and design them to look more traditionally stylish. Lots of people already do this. Such a thing can't be done in the digital world, however, meaning you will almost certainly always have to pay that premium to keep up with stylistic trends. This is exactly what they want to sell you. The scene of Pomni looking in the mirror is a crucial one, as I believe represents this concept I've been talking about. Run the clip again. Style. It is only when she finally looks into a mirror that she calms down a bit, as she is starting to identify her with her avatar. Just as we are relieved to see her face after a long and turmoil-filled adventure, she is glad to see her digital face, even if only for a brief second. This is where the collective consciousness comes into play. We wish to influence the people who have influenced and essentially made us. One way of doing this is through digital fashion. But more importantly, the internet, and thus the digital world like the Wired from Lain, is a meeting ground for the collective consciousness. A streamlined version of it that connects us all, quite literally. And since we were always drawn towards the collective, we are naturally drawn towards the digital world, as it's the most accessible method of accessing said collective. I believe big tech understands this concept and are weaponizing it to create a modern dystopia, a digital world where everything and everyone is controlled. It's also important to realize the, well, importance of Cain here. The similarities to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream cannot go overlooked, and I believe I heard somewhere that Gooseworks was heavily inspired by that seminal sci-fi story, or point-and-click adventure game based on how you experienced it. I've never personally read or played the story in any form, so I'm certainly no expert, but what I can say is that Cain as a concept looks to be the future of AI. To have someone, or something rather, track your every movement, to have it control the online space in its entirety, with authority. I shouldn't even say Cain is the future of AI, actually, because honestly, he's the present of it. AI already controls everything you do online, keeps track of it to sell to other companies. This is ultimately where I think the series is heading towards, a colorful interpretation of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, where the concept is built around the dark realities of our own time. A series that analyzes the evil plot to fully ensnare you into a digital world, by having characters, well, be fully ensnared into a digital world. While hopefully we don't actually get stuck in such a place, I don't think the meta, no pun intended, message of the amazing digital circus isn't such a reality. Rather, it will be our consciousness that's stuck, and how big tech is manipulating it to associate itself with that technology more so than our actual bodies, to get us so dependent on our devices that we may as well be trapped within them. I want you to imagine this scenario. You slowly open your eyes, and what you see before you is a mirror. It looks like you think to yourself, and yet something is off. This isn't right. You don't even remember how you got here. Suddenly, something pops up in your peripheral, an ad to buy a new digital shirt. But wait, digital shirt? Where exactly are you? And how do you get out? This is the true horror behind the amazing digital circus. The idea of being trapped in a digital world, yes, but a stark reminder that this is exactly what the powers that be are trying to do to you right now. To get your consciousness engraved into a technological device, far, far away from your actual body. It makes you question, what exactly are you? In a digital world without a body, are you just a mind? Perhaps so. What does it say about you? And if you're watching this video, you are already a couple steps on that journey. You have no mouth, but you must scream. I know this video didn't truly analyze the actual plot and characters of the amazing digital circus, so you'll have to forgive me. While they are intriguing in their own rights, I thought it would be simply more interesting to draw parallels to the real world and where I think the series may ultimately be heading. Rest assured though, if y'all like this video, I'm sure I'll make more on the show, especially once new episodes actually come out. Who knows, this could be my new cash cow. And when I say like, I mean enjoyed the video, not actually giving it a like. Although you should surely do that as well. And now, a word from our sponsors. Me. This, friends, is the trailer for my current horror short film, Squid Boy. And, as always, thank you for watching.